Hi, I'm Andrew Strome, and welcome to the second in our series of Essential Glues for the Woodworker. Today I'm going to talk to you about CAs. Now, CA stands for cyanoacrylate, and if you think of CAs as sort of being liquid plastic in a bottle, acrylic, acrylate, related to each other, you wouldn't be too far off the mark. This family of compounds was discovered during the war when research was being done into plastics for manufacturing gun sights. CAs didn't suit that purpose, so they were shelved for about a decade until we realized their potential as a versatile family of adhesives. So let's talk about some of the useful properties that CAs have. They can be used to bond a wide range of materials, everything from wood to plastic and metal, so long as one of those materials is porous. They also dry tremendously quickly, some formulations within a matter of seconds, some certainly in under a minute, even faster when an accelerant is used. Another useful property of CAs is that they can be modified with the addition of a filler, like fine sanding dust or wood flour, to create a paste for filling cracks and voids in wood. A couple of important things to keep in mind when working with CAs. One is that they're moisture curing. So water serves as a catalyst for the chemical reaction that cures the glue. This comes into play if you happen to be working in an environment that has high relative humidity, because it will speed the curing process up. So another thing to keep in mind is that the chemical reaction that cures CAs is exothermic, which means that it gives off heat. That heat can build up and create a positive feedback loop that cures the glue more quickly than you would anticipate. So if you're working with a large volume of glue, you need to bear that in mind and apply the glue in layers so that the heat doesn't build up. One of the most important considerations when you're working with CAs is to be aware that they come in different viscosities. So generally they're thin, medium, and thick. The thin is about the consistency of water. The medium is a sort of syrupy viscosity, and the thick is more gel-like. I can just show you that the thin, when I put some on the wood surface, you can see how it soaks right in, and how this property might be useful if you had a very tiny crack that you needed it to soak into, or if you were consolidating an area of punky or rotted wood. So with the medium, you have a lot more control about where you actually place the glue. So this formulation is really useful where you've brought the pieces to be adhered together and you need the glue to wick into a closed joint. And then finally, the thick formulation, let's see, it's almost gel-like, and this property is really useful when you're filling a large void in a piece of wood, or if you have two parts that you're going to bring together to adhere them. So the thin formulation cures in approximately 10 seconds or so. The medium formulation in 10 to 30 seconds, let's say. And then the thick is typically less than a minute. And as I said, all these cure times are going to vary depending on the humidity of the environment that you find yourself in. So there are definitely some watch-outs to be aware of when you're working with CAs. One, it bonds a wide range of materials, including skin. So if there's any possibility that you'll come in contact with it, best to wear gloves. If you happen to inadvertently glue your fingers together, do not pull them apart. Instead, use a debonder. Debonders are available commercially. Acetone works, or if you happen to have nail polish remover, that works as well. CAs also have a relatively short shelf life once opened. It's typically on the order of 2 or 3 months. You can prolong that shelf life by storing them in the refrigerator, but it's important to keep humidity away from the glues. So what I do is I do store them in the fridge, but I keep them in a plastic bag because a fridge is a relatively humid environment, and that way moisture doesn't infiltrate into the bag. And finally, it's important to be aware that the chemical reaction does produce small amounts of fairly noxious fumes. So when you're working with CAs, always best to do so in a well-ventilated environment. So there you have it, a primer on the wonders and uses of CA glues. Thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.